Hey, welcome to the Strength Solutions Podcast. We have a wonderful podcast today. First, we're to talk about, hey, what are things that we see in the gym that are undervalued or overvalued? Then we're talking about our weekends, women on Ozempic. Half of women have a backup plan. Letting competition getting in the way.
Okay.
Guides. We're talking about Reddit finds, 2 studies, and 4 fitness questions. If you're enjoying what we're talking about, please share, like, subscribe. We're on Apple and Spotify. You can rate and review us. Also, on YouTube, you can subscribe, leave comments down below. Let us know what you think. Then you have a website, ssempowered.com. We have free blogs, free guides, which we release once a month, a blog, and once a month, a guide. Then if you're looking to email us, strengthsolutionsempowered@gmail.com. We have social media, Facebook, it's Strength Solutions. TikTok, it's strength.solutions.pod. And on Instagram, it's Strength Solutions Empowered. I'm Strength Solutions Edwin.
I'm Strength Solutions Nathaniel.
All right, dude. So I had this amazing question. And a client came up to me and they were like, what do you think are things that are in the gym that you see that people overvalue or undervalue?
That's pretty good.
And, you know, I think one of the things that we overvalue is we overvalue what exercise to do and undervalue how to do the exercise.
What exercise to do and how to do the exercise. Okay.
Right? So, for example, let's talk about a glute bridge.
Okay.
There's different ways to do a glute bridge depending on the individual's needs. And so you'll see a lot of people put on bands and they are doing glute bridges so they could fill their piriformis muscle and externally rotate, but it could be overvalued because what they really need is to put a ball between their legs and work on their pelvic floor. So when they're squatting, they actually have their core activated. So we're so focused on what to do versus what we need and how to execute it.
Yeah, that's true. Because a lot of the times, like I was even talking to a friend today, and she's been going to the gym for a super long time. She posted a picture the other day, and I was like, bro, you're fucking jacked, man. I was like, you look great. And she was like, yeah, I really want to grow my butt more. And I was like, God, everybody wants to grow their butt, you know?
Well, they can't all have Edwin's cakes.
Yeah. You can't be Edwin. Just stop trying.
Just stop trying. This is all genetics. Thanks, mama.
It's futile, you know?
It's all from a mama.
And yeah, and so like, you know, a lot of people will, I was looking at someone post the other day and they were like, you know, everybody wants to grow their butt, but none of their programming ever has like squats, ever has anything, right? They're too focused on what's cool, right? Like what looks cool, what feels like I'm activating my glutes, right? Like, you know, a glute bridge is a good one, right? Where you might feel like it's doing a lot, but it's more of an activation exercise, right? Yeah. It's something you do before. And so, yeah, I think that you're totally on it. Trying to think of other things. I think a lot of the people, especially like new beginners and things like that, will value machines, right? A lot. I think it's easy to do. I think it feels another one that feels like you're doing a lot, but it's overvalued, you know?
Yeah, and I'm going to give you one that we talk about all the time that kind of counters your point of view, and this is why it's so independent, is a barbell back squat. People overvalue a barbell back squat when truly they should probably regress.
Yeah.
Or maybe they have back issues that is not meant to have a barbell in their back and it compresses their spine too much.
Yeah.
Where maybe a goblet squat may be a little bit better, or a front squat, learning how to take the load. And then maybe later, like progressing further to a back squat. But people try to start there when they don't have the foundational principles to get there.
That's funny, man. I think you're right, because a lot of people will start at I don't want to say the end, right? But they'll start with very advanced movements, right? I think we see a lot of people doing barbell back squat. We see a lot of people doing deadlifts, things like that. So everybody's just like, I'll just do it too, right? Like that's just what you're supposed to do when you're working out, whatever. When most people should be starting with a bodyweight squat, you know, or a glute bridge to start feeling the glutes. Like there's a way to begin, right? And there's a way to progress. And I think that too many people overvalue those very advanced movements when, like you said, maybe they're just not ready.
Yeah. And so the next thing I talked to my client was people value high volume versus the right volume.
Yeah. Ooh.
Right. Those are 2 different concepts.
Yeah.
And I think this is game changing once you find out.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's got to match your nutrition It's got to match your overall stress level. It's got to match your sleep routine.
Yeah.
And that's going to optimize muscle growth.
Right.
What's not going to optimize muscle growth is you doing 25 sets, 30 sets of an exercise, especially for an average individual who doesn't eat a certain way, doesn't sleep a certain way, doesn't de-stress a certain way.
Right.
It's not going to do good for you. Or who doesn't have optimal hormones, you know, like you're getting tested by Renew, right? And
super excited. I'm going to try and go tomorrow to get my blood drawn. That's what I'm doing. Yeah.
That's your goal?
That's my goal.
And they're going to tell you,
Will
okay,
you come with me?
You need me to hold your hand?
Yeah.
That way we can like optimize your hormones and get something better.
Yep.
Or like we met with Vanessa and your diet is off. You can go with a person like that. Or maybe, you know, your volume's not the issue, but your pelvic floor, you know, we met a pelvic floor specialist. You know, there's people out there to help you beyond just us. And high volume is not the only thing in the world. It's finding the right volume, finding the right things that work for you. And I think most people just overvalue, especially in the fitness space. I see a lot of trainers, a lot of people who are in our space. They're like, you got to do this many sets. And you don't know a fucking thing about the other person across from you. But you're telling them exactly what to do. Because right now we have a trainer who's doing about 5 exercises, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, each of those days, 5 exercises, and then mobility days. Literally getting the best gains of his life.
Yeah.
Because his eating is matching his amount of volume he's using.
Yeah. So perfect example. My brother, you know, I'd be shouting him out all the time on this podcast, dude, but he is doing a program called the Texas Method. Have you heard of this?
No. What is that?
No. Okay. Yeah. So it's, I'll send you some links. It's a little complicated. He was trying to explain it to me, and I was just like, "Bro, I don't understand what you're telling me."
Let me see it.
Yeah. I was like, "I need to see it written out." So
first of all, he's not great at explaining things. So
that's true. You know what? I always say that my brother is great at doing stuff, but he's not a good teacher. I remember when he would try and teach me how to play guitar, and he'd just be like, "Just fucking do it." Just do it. And I'd be like, "Oh no!"
You're like, "Can you get the wife to come over here and tell me this?"
And so he sent me some articles. I read through one of the articles. It's by Mark Ripto. You know Mark Ripto, right? Starting Strength. Yeah.
Starting Strength,
And so it's what you're supposed to do after you do Starting Strength.
Okay.
It's the program that follows. And so he sent me a video where this guy kind of like broke it down, and it's very intense. It's pretty intense. It's almost like a powerlifting program. That's primarily what it is. So it's about lifting heavy, getting a lot out of it. But in the video, the guy was like, if you are, or even Mark in his article about it, he was like, if you're going out on the weekends and fucking drinking and not sleeping and stuff, he was like, don't do this. Like, it's going to be totally worthless. Like, because you're not recovering properly. And recovery is the main theory behind that program. Yeah. It's like a super heavy stimulus at the beginning, recovery towards the middle, a high intensity day at the end, and then you recover through the weekend. And like a lot of the times in it, he was like, yeah. He was like, you don't get big in the gym. You get big when you go to bed. You know, like that's when it happens. And so a lot of the thing is focused on recovery. And it's like, if you're not recovering and you're doing a program that's super intense, that one's not very high volume, but it's really intense, like tension wise with muscle, a lot of weight, stuff like that, then it doesn't match, you know? And so you're overvaluing like volume and all those stuff where you may not need it.
Dude, I literally had this conversation with some new clients. And they were like, how many days a week am I going to do? They want to do
8 days a week, bro.
They want to do like 4 to 5 days. And like, I got here set and I was like, I'll come up with the idea where y'all are at. What am I thinking?
Sure. I got to figure it out.
I got to figure it out. And like I was thinking today, and I'm going to send them an email probably right after this, is 2 days a week is where they're at.
Sure.
And mobility and recovery.
You know what? They're going to be like, what?
They're going to be freaking out when I send it. Yes.
They're going to be pissed.
Actually, no, they seem to really trust me really well because I went through my assessment.
Yeah. And
you know how like detailed my assessment is. And they're like, oh, I move and I feel better. So
I think that's important, man. Cause I've had people tell me the same thing. Like, especially people I've worked with in the past or whatever, they're just like, you tell me what I need, you know? And I think that when a client tells you that, you know that they trust you. You know, they're no longer trying to tell you what to do. They're ready to listen to like what you know they need, you know. I think it's important, and I think that's where a lot of trainers need to work a little bit more on just getting their clients to trust them.
Yeah, and this next one has not to do about physical fitness, but about nutrition, and that there's only one way to eat, and this is the right way to eat versus learning how to eat as an individual.
Yeah,
I think too many times, because we're group mentality as humans,
Yeah.
we tend to want to go into a tribe and like, this is how we got to do it and stuff like that. It's hard to be an individual, very hard. And at the end of the day, our genetics are very different. Our environment's very different from individual. Me and you are in two different places. Our stresses are two different things. And manipulating eating is very individual because we have different gut. If you talk to a lot of people who specialize in the gut, they'll tell you it's like a thumbprint. It's very different for each individual.
Right. I've heard that.
Yeah. And I think too many times we get in camps here and I have friends that are like, you could have carbs, you could do great, you know, or you need to eat low carbs and keto. It's like, yo, I need to talk to you as an individual. Where do you want to start? Where are you at currently?
What makes you feel good?
What foods can I take away in the sense of, I want you to eat more protein, but what desserts do you want? So like, hey, I can't have it in the house. Like, you put a brownie in my house.
Oh yeah.
It's done.
You're a big brownie guy, right?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. Do you like brookies?
Yeah, dude. Anything that has a brownie and some fudge, bro.
Yeah. You're about it?
If you had some fudge on your body, I would eat your arm right now.
Whoa.
Hey, don't let Camille know.
Yeah. Hey, man, I have more percent in my DNA than she does, all right? I'm more fudge.
I'm more fudge.
It's funny, man. I was actually talking to my dad about this the other day because we did a body scan. And, you know, it wasn't ideal. He was a little upset about it. And I was like, hey, okay. But honestly, though, the last time we scanned was a little bit before his birthday, which is before Thanksgiving. And we scanned this month, and he was the same weight. And I was like, honestly, that's pretty good. I was like, you maintained like through the holidays. Like, that's hard to do, you know? You didn't end up 10 pounds heavier or something like that. You're the same weight.
The muscle mass? And
it had dropped a little bit. And I talked to him too. And I was like, what's going on? And he was like, to be honest with you, I kind of was like, whatever about my diet, like a couple, like, you know, the last couple months and stuff. And I was like, I get it. You know, I understand. Like,
but he may have not really lost that weight. It could be because imagine it's electric impedance, right? So it literally could be just his water levels.
Maybe he's not as hydrated. Yeah. And so I told him though, and we were talking about stuff and about eating and everything like that. And I was like, look, I know that you're a big sweets guy. You know, I know you like your cookies. I know you like stuff like that. And I was like, but you just need to, I'm not telling you that you can't have it, but you just need to moderate it. You know, like it's like, if you can't not have it in the house, right? Then if at night you normally eat 5 cookies, right? Then have 2.5. You know, like that might be enough to change, you know, some of this weight gain or whatever it is. And I think it's just better that way. So you're not in like this restriction mentality. You're just in a moderation mentality, right?
Or that you can't have the cookies. It's not that you have them at home and you have to go get a 1-pack off. Yeah. Like at the store.
That's what I was telling him. I was like, because, okay.
Creates a barrier.
So you're a brownie guy, right?
Yeah.
I'm a fucking bag of chips guy. Yeah. I will smash a bag of chips instantly. And so,
hey bro, with your penis? Is that what
yeah. Bam.
And so, how you open it up?
Yeah. I was like, I don't need hands, man.
You know that one chip commercial where he opens up everything with one hand? Yeah. Right.
It's like, oh dude, do you remember the commercials with the hunger hand where it like comes out of the middle and like grabs
the stomach? Yeah.
That's the other way, you know. But I was telling him, I was like, I don't buy chips. I was like, I cannot buy chips because if they're in the house, I'm going to fucking destroy that thing. Yeah. And I was like, if I want a bag of chips, you know what I have to do? I have to sit down and go, all right, I have to go to my car. I have to go to the gas station. I got to buy a bag of chips. I got to pay for the bag of chips. I have to drive back home. And I'm like, by that time, I'm like, that sounds like it sucks. I was like, I don't want to do it anymore. And so like, I told him, I was like, just create barriers, right? I was like, if you have to have it in the house, then tell yourself, like, build a new habit. Every time I want to go grab cookies, I'm going to do 5 push-ups, 10 squats, 30 sit-ups, whatever. And I was like, you might not even do them. You might sit there and go, that sounds like it sucks ass. I'm just going to go to bed, you know? And I was like, that might be enough to make you just change the habit, you know?
Yeah, I give you a perfect example. It has nothing to do with food, and it has to do with my phone. Because there's times you start going like this, and you're like, fuck, I've been like, I want my phone too much.
Yeah.
What I do is, okay, I'm going to watch TV and I'll put my phone on the charger in my room. That way it creates a small barrier for me to think, why am I walking over there just for the phone?
Yep.
And it makes a huge difference. Then I'm like, oh, I don't need it. I'm good.
Yeah. You know, it's funny too, dude. I've been trying to do that better as well. And I think we talk about this a lot, but my little digital wellness thing is always like, you used your phone like 1 hour less, 2 hours less than last week, 3 hours less than last week. And I'm like, fuck yeah, it's awesome. Especially because like, I feel like I've been working so much more, man, but it's just, you just got to create barriers. Like you said, just like, I'm going to work from 8 to 10 tonight. And after that, putting my phone down, I'm fucking done. I'm just going to put it away and that's it.
Yeah. So this last one, I told her the biggest undervalue thing is following people who make you think and not following people who tell you what to do. And so a lot of times in the fitness space, we tell people what to do versus I need you to think for yourself. I need you to really come up with the idea on your own, because as we've been training, we know this, right? We can tell clients what to do. And that's when I had the least amount of success. What I can do is lead them to come up with the idea, and they need to come up with the idea themselves. We're no different than children as adults. We need to be in control of our own fate, even though we are kind of guiding, like as a parent.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you definitely need to, cause even, like you said with kids, right? Like you tell a kid what to do, you say, go brush your teeth, right? Immediately they're like, oh, fuck, I don't want to go brush my teeth, right? But if you're like, hey, I bought you a new toothbrush, or, this toothbrush lights up, or whatever it is, right? It makes it like something that they want to do, right? I'm no longer telling them what to do. Now they have like intrinsic motivation to just go brush teeth, right? Same thing with us, man. If you're having trouble with diet or whatever, that's why I was like, I'm not going to be like, well, you need to stop eating this. You need to stop eating cookies. You need to stop eating brownies. You need to stop eating a bag of chips, whatever it is. No, it's like, all right, well, like, let's figure it out, right? Like what's the trigger, for when you want cookies, right? Is it at night when you're like off of work and you're going to watch TV, right? Dude, I bet if you change one thing about that, like habit that you have of like sitting down, watching TV, this is when I have my food, right? Let's say, I don't know, you fucking sit in another room and watch TV, right? That habit immediately might change, right? Because it's triggers, man. It's imagery, it's vision, it's habit. And so just changing one thing like that, instead of me being like, oh, go do this, you're going to change this now, whatever. Let's figure it out. What can I do to make this work better, right? Because right now it ain't working, and you got to fix it.
Dude, it's crazy. You're talking about the TV. It made me think about this guy who was at the gym, and we're talking, and he liked Grey's Anatomy. It was every Wednesday, and he would order pizza and wings. So
cute, man. I love it.
He just stopped watching Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah.
On that day, he would record it and watch a different day, and he stopped ordering pizza and wings.
No shit, man. You're kidding?
Nope.
That's fucking awesome, dude.
But that little switch you're talking about is what makes a huge difference, and that's why, as fitness professionals, we need to talk about. What do you think? What do you need, right?
Behaviors,
habits. We're more psychologists or therapists, kind of.
I deserve an honorary degree, bro.
At this point, right?
Yeah. I don't have it right.
We're PTs. We're like their friend, their family. They just
we're fucking assistant scheduling them. Yeah. What if you move this around so you can come in this day?
But yeah, we tell people just to do something. I think that's the number one mistake. And if we could create a better society of people thinking for themselves and learning how to trust properly, it's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight.
Yeah.
And getting these movements, like I had a client who told me today, she's been with other trainers, and I saw her last January.
Mm-hmm. Wow, so it's been about a year?
It's been about a year. And she was telling me, I still remember the first time we met, I was so skeptical because I've been with other trainers that once we did your assessment, I knew this was different because you made me think.
Yeah.
You made me know, okay, this feels good. This doesn't feel good. Not, let's just do this exercise.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay. And we communicated and talked about different things. How do I manipulate? Perfect example. Today we did a straight arm pull down, and she was like, my shoulder hurts. I was like, well, are you not actively rotating your elbow inwards? And then she did it. She's like, it's gone. And I was like, your whole trainer experience should be about communicating back and forward each set that you do.
Every set. Yeah. Cause after every set, I'll be like, how did that feel? How was the weight? Does anything bother you? Knees, hips, anything?
315 now.
Yeah. Perfect. Excellent. Like, let's go ahead and go for the next set or whatever it is, right? And sometimes it is. I used to have a client who would always say that. They'd always be like, man, dude, just like the smallest, twist here, the smallest tension out that way changes the pain, changes how it feels, right? Like changes the activation. Now I feel it, right? And it's like sometimes it's that simple, but I never know if I was just like fucking do the rear delt fly, do the squat, you know what I mean?
And they think of trainers just counting. If you get a trainer who's just counting and doing sets and reps, like I've seen where they're doing planks and their back is like this, and like you see that
on their phone,
they're on their phone or whatever. Like you need to get someone new, and all because someone posts a lot on social media does not mean they know what they're doing too.
Right? Yeah, I saw something today. I don't know if I sent it to you. I just saw it today about like people who you shouldn't follow on social media, and one of them was like the overconfident person. Because I could stand there and say, oh, I know what I'm doing. I know exactly. You do this, you do that. And confidence doesn't mean like comprehension, right? Confidence doesn't mean that they know the knowledge. It doesn't equal that, right? But it's easy. It's charismatic, right? To go in there and say like, oh, I know what the hell I'm doing, right? People are going to immediately kind of like just gather towards you, you know, but that's not always the best person to follow.
Yeah. All right. So I know I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
What'd you do this weekend? You enjoyed the cold, right?
Yeah. How do you like it? Do you enjoy this craziness?
I hate cold, bro.
Yeah, really?
Dude, if I could
live.
live.
Yeah, you're a little beach boy, aren't you?
I'm an island boy. So my parents are from Puerto Rico.
Yeah. Can you say something in Puerto Rican?
It's called Spanish.
No.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Whoa.
Soy Dora.
So exotic.
Map.
So I knew she was Dominican, man.
So no, dude, I don't like this weather at all. It's it's one of those things, man. If we could and move this podcast and I could train people in Puerto Rico, I would.
Let's do it, man. Let's fucking go. Who cares?
Just leave. I would.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Let's see. This weekend, Saturday. Oh, it was one of my friends' birthday parties. Happy birthday, bro! If you're listening.
You have friends outside?
I do. I swear.
You son of a.
So I went out, had a couple drinks. It was fun. Met some people that like they have a very different group of friends, and so I love meeting them because they're so cool and just like interesting people and everything. So did that. Did a little bit of karaoke that night. Went out and did some karaoke.
Dude, you love karaoke.
Yeah, I love karaoke, bro.
What song did you do?
I did Mamma Mia from ABBA.
Mamma Mia.
It was all opera.
Yeah.
No.
You're gonna give Jacob comp.
Yeah, let's go, Jacob. Karaoke competition, bro. I know you're listening, bro. So we did that, and then Sunday, bro, kind of just like rolled around in bed, man. Just sort of like relax and do whatever. And so that was my weekend, man. What about yours,
dude? Literally chilled on Saturday. Really didn't do much. Sunday, we went to main event, and so it was really cold, right?
Yeah.
It was empty.
Really?
Yeah, like everywhere you went, like we got to a restaurant and we got sat down like that.
Oh, yeah.
And then Monday just chilled.
Yeah.
But I did watch the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, was it versus Green Bay?
Yeah, they got their ass handed.
It was pretty bad.
So they got whooped. And it was 14-0, and I was like, I'm going to turn this off. And there's a show on Amazon Prime. It's called Upload.
Okay.
Dude, you need to watch it, dude.
What is it about?
So it's in its third season. The first season was more about like you learn about if someone dies, you could upload their brain into this like computer system, and they still have this active brain.
Oh, okay.
And then season 2, they go, you could download into your own body. Like you create a clone of your own body and download. And then
so it's not like a robot. It's like a
actual human body.
Yeah, android.
Yeah,
that's what it would be.
And then the last season that I just watched, it's more about like you're learning about the corruption of everything that's taking hand. So it's really good, dude.
Interesting. That sounds cool. Yeah, it's very sci-fi. I wouldn't expect that out of you. Do you like sci-fi shit?
Yeah, I like sci-fi.
Huh, interesting. Okay.
There's actually one I heard that's on Apple, so I need to see if I have Apple or not. I'll check it out later.
Yeah. Who's the guy that owns Apple? Or the dude he just passed? Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, he has my life right here.
Yeah, I know. Dude, you're owned.
I'm dead. Apple killed me. No.
Uploading.
But then Pretty Woman came on, and me and Amanda had these conversations, and it led to different things. And we're talking about how like Pretty Woman kind of like started the cascade of women thinking this is what men have to do to treat women.
Okay, it's a movie.
It's a movie.
I've never seen it.
So she's like a hooker.
Oh.
And
whoa.
And Richard Gere's like this high exec, and he like wines and dines her, gives her this beautiful life, and falls in love with her.
He knows she's a hooker.
Yes.
Okay.
And he gives her money at the end and stuff like that. So we had this conversation about that and like how.
Oh, so he like rescues her.
Rescues her, quote unquote. And we talked about how like that concept has really hurt some women in relationships because they think this is what they need in a man, when in reality they may need something different.
Yeah.
And then it led to she showed me this TikTok, and this will lead to the Instagram I talked to. And then this TikTok, pretty much this lady had like her husband, he was washing dishes and stuff like that, and it had like a whole reading about how he's like a dog and he's like a German shepherd and he is loyal but will bark back, and because if someone comes after me he'll take care of me, and comparing him to a dog. And then I saw, dude, it just happened to be perfect timing, the Tin Men's Instagram about women talking about how to train a man and train your man like your dog.
There's like a whole genre of books that are written about like how men are just like dogs. Train your man so that he's loyal and obedient. Like, so many books like that. And one of the things that I saw, I think in that same post, it may have been a different one, but they were like, imagine a guy wrote this book that was like, train your woman like a dog, like whatever. Dude, oh my God, you'd be on fucking fire, man. Like, you'd be canceled immediately. But it's okay in another sense, right? Because it's like, well, men should be trained like dogs. Like, they should just do whatever you want. They should, you know what I mean? Like, they should just like cater to you nonstop every day. Their whole life should be like worshiping you, you know?
Dude, yeah. I mean, I totally agree. But I really think about, we don't think about wordplay a lot. And I used to be the guy, words don't matter. It's all about actions. But words do matter because words subconsciously change your brain and how it functions. If you're already saying how to train a guy and he's like a dog, you're already putting yourself above him. Subconsciously. Right. And even if a guy did this to a woman, and like I guess the equal for us would be like, girls are just crazy. There's this and that. I just need to calm her down. Yeah. So you're going to go into your subconsciously in your relationship that your whole
she's
concept
crazy.
She doesn't know what she's doing.
Yeah.
She's dumb.
She's stupid.
Yeah. And you're already putting yourself above her instead of truly treating yourselves as equals and developing a relationship of respect. You're really setting yourself up for failure, man.
Yeah, definitely. It really is important. Mindset. Right? Mindset is so important, man. Is in anything, right? Like the intent of things can change the reality of it, you know? So I really think that we need to be careful with stuff like that. And with like the media you intake, right? Whether it's a book or a TikTok or whatever, because I'm sure there's some people who saw that and was like, my man doesn't do that, right? Like he doesn't wash the dishes. Like I ask him to do stuff all the time and he's always like, no, you know, and there might be a perfectly reasonable reason, or maybe they have a different division of labor, right, that they do at their home or whatever. But now I'm taking so much media that's like, well, my man should be doing it. Why doesn't he take me on a date every month? Why doesn't he take me, you know, this, that girl has this, you know, and then at the end of it, you fucking hate your partner.
Yeah. And I think this is happening a lot of times, right? And I think that's what's leading to this survey that they did. And I know it's not a 100% survey, but it was a bunch of women in the UK they surveyed. And I think in the past, and I think the number is actually up today, but I know the one in the past for sure, half of the women have a backup plan. So they could be married or have a boyfriend, but they're still talking to another man.
Yeah, I mean, you got to have backup plan, bro. You got to have somebody in your pocket.
And I read even further into this survey, and some of the women said that they know if they lost their man that they currently had, that the guy that was their backup plan already loves them.
Whoa.
And it was about a quarter of them that said
Damn.
that.
So they got like a lineup.
So to me, you already set up your relationship for failure because you're not putting 100% your effort into your current partner.
And you... I've been learning so much about people. I've been reading this book too about people.
Whoa. Like, you read a book, but you don't read my studies?
Hold on. It's an audiobook. I haven't listened to it.
Okay. Not reading. Okay.
About people with like certain mental disorders and stuff like that. It deals a lot with like people who have like bipolar disorder and narcissistic personality disorder, and stuff like that. And it's so interesting to know that like, dude, when you talk to somebody, and you're having a conversation with someone, right? Whether they have mental problems, whether they're normal, whatever. It's almost like you're having a conversation with, or it's almost like you're just hearing them talk to themselves.
Uh-huh.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, and for example, like with this, right, where they're like, or what was it again about these women that they were saying?
The backup plan?
Backup plan, right? So there's a problem with them, right? There's a problem that they can't trust, right? They're too afraid to be vulnerable, right? That it's all has to do with them, where there's something wrong with these individuals that they need a backup plan because they're too afraid of whatever, right? Whatever it is. Maybe someone left them in the past, so now they're too afraid of that happening again. They never had a father figure. Maybe their parents left a lot, right? Like their abandonment issues, something like that, right? And it's just so interesting, man, how they will consistently project that onto someone else. Like, oh, you're the problem. You didn't make me trust you enough. You didn't make me feel like I could be vulnerable. I needed to have a backup plan, like whatever it is, right? It's just really interesting, man, like how people are and how like their environment, relationships, things like that have like changed them.
I would argue like what you're talking about, like it's all about them. I know when there's issues like in my relationship, it really boils down to me and how I feel and how I interpret the message. It's not my partner. And I think too many times we blame our partner for our interpretation of things or not being able to communicate properly. Yeah. And I think this is where guys go wrong a lot of times is we don't communicate very well. If you talk about speech and communication, women are just heads and bounds ahead of men a lot of times. Because we don't use much words. We don't know how to use much words. We've been told
they're playing chess or we're playing checkers, you know? And I agree, man. I think one of the main things I learned through therapy that like resonates with me a lot, and I'm sure it should probably resonate with a lot of people, is like you have to depersonalize situations. You have to. Because man, I'll say, you know, straight out that like I take a lot of stuff personally. Like I will like be like, oh, it's something wrong with me, or why are you coming at me like that, or whatever it is, you know? And it's very, very hard to depersonalize stuff. And that was one of the main, when she said that, she gave us like this whole like read out paper and stuff. And I was like, damn, I gotta sit down and read this, man. Cause like it really made me think like how many issues, even not in my relationship now, but in relationships in the past, were because of me, right? Like because I interpreted something wrong, or because I, you know, couldn't handle what was being told to me or something like that. You really gotta look inward, man. It's hard. Yeah. And you don't want to.
So men don't communicate well. And I think women over communicate. And then it ends up like making the man go backwards. Right. Versus like saying, this is the issue. This is what we really need to work on. It's like, this is the issue and this and this and this and this and this and this. Yeah. Yeah. And then it gets lost in translation.
Yeah. Cause a lot of times too, like in relationships and stuff, I'll like stop, you know, my partner or whatever and be like, okay, well, like you might be thinking about this in the way that you think about things, but you're not thinking about it in the way that I think about things. Right. So the feeling that you may have isn't at all, you know, what I'm thinking or whatever, but you have to be able to communicate. You have to be able to have those conversations, you know?
Yeah. All right. So this next one is Ozempic, bro.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Dude. So these women are suing the maker of Ozempic. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but because they're having diarrhea and they said it's going to be for life now.
Imagine someone sits down and tell you like, hey, this is forever. You can never fix it.
Yeah, which we don't know is true. One,
what happened? Like, so what does it do?
I guess like something in their gut just passes through everything. One, we don't know if the individual doctor is the reason for it. Maybe they give them a wrong dosage.
Sure.
So there's a lot of things that are still like in this lawsuit, but I think this is a good point to point out to people that all because a drug is new and it's seeing a lot of positive results. I'm not saying Ozempic is bad, but always have a cautionary tale when there's a new drug.
Yeah.
Now, I do think still it could be a great tool with a change of a lifestyle.
Sure.
And the proper medical professionals.
And I think with resistance training.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's, man, dude, that sucks.
Dude, imagine going diarrhea every day. Like,
yeah.
It tells you she's not absorbing any of the nutrients, which in turn is going to affect your health because you need to absorb and
But
digest.
who knows? Like maybe that's like one of the principles that Ozempic works off of, right? Because it's like you're not intaking any calories. Maybe, you know, you're not getting any fat or any carbohydrates or anything. So of course you're going to, so of course you're going to eat less, right? Of course you're going to have less caloric intake. And then, you know, maybe it becomes irreversible, right? Maybe you lose the ability to absorb these things or digest them or whatever. So now you're just fucking shitting your brains out, you know? That sucks, man.
It could have been the dosage, right? Like
could have been the dosage, right? It could have been
the dosage makes the poison. That's what I always tell people.
There you go. Yeah, you're right. Everything is poisonous, right?
Yeah.
In the wrong amount. Yeah.
You could die drinking too much water.
Vitamin A. You could overdose on vitamin A, you know, but how much is ridiculous, right? But it's like everything has a limit, you know?
So there's a video you sent me, and it was about like two guys, and this guy talking to him, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna make you laugh," and then he rings like these keys in front of one, and then you can see the guy laugh, and then the other guy's serious, and then he rings
like
the
trying
other
not to laugh,
try not to laugh, and a lot of times we let competition get away of just enjoying the moment.
Whoa. No, honestly, dude, that was a really weird video. I was kind of like, what the hell's going on right now? So dude, it was three guys doing a podcast like this. No dude sitting across from him. I guess he's a comedian or something like that. And he was like, I'm going to make both of you laugh right now. So he like leaves the room, comes back, and he has keys, and he just like jingles them in front of him, right? And like both of them are trying not to laugh, right? Yeah. Like they're both trying not to laugh. I think maybe one of the guy cracks a little bit of a laugh, or, you know, a smirk or something like that. Sits down and he goes, "Why didn't y'all laugh?" You know, and they were like, "Well, it wasn't funny or whatever," you know. And he was like, "No, it's because you decided that you weren't going to laugh anymore, right? And now that your friend laughed or whatever, now you have to not laugh, right? Like because." Then he was like, "Why? Why did you do that?" And it was like, you know, especially I think in terms of guys, right? There's like this like, well, if I can't do it, then I'm weak, right? Or I'm not as strong, you know, because I can't resist whatever it is. And he's just like, there's literally no point in any reason why you two couldn't have laughed right now. You know, nothing was going to happen. No one's going to call you stupid. Yeah, it's funny, right? Yeah. Like, I remember, like, I'm a laughy guy, right? I laugh a lot, right? When I was in college, I remember I would stay with my brother and my best friend a lot, and they had a roommate. He was a cool guy. And I remember one time he was like, "My goal is just to make you laugh, like just to like say something and make you laugh." So he'd like come down the stairs and be like, "Yogurt," or like say something stupid or whatever, just to see if I would laugh, right? And it was funny, you know, like I wasn't going to be there and be like, "Well, no, you know, I'm not laughing about it." You know, it's just like, but it's interesting how we like sort of make everything a competition. Everybody has to be better than someone else, you know?
It makes me think when I was a lot younger, and I see this in a lot of younger kids, and I make it sound like I'm 100 years old.
Well, you are, you know.
I'm pretty close.
You can order off the senior menu, bro. I'll have the liver and onions.
Liver and onions? Yeah. But I remember being younger, and I think when we're younger, we're guilty of this a lot, is learning how to enjoy every moment, you know?
Yeah.
Like when I had my children when they were younger, really just enjoying the crawling phase, the babbling mouth phase. And I think today I know how to enjoy moments more, just like sitting on the couch together and like saying to Amanda, "Hey, like this is really cool. We're watching this movie as a family. It feels pretty cool." Or, "Hey, we went to main event. This is cool. Just seeing the kids excited and they're going."
Yeah, I'm pretty excited because I'm taking my kid this weekend. You know, are you taking yours?
Maybe not.
Maybe not. Yeah. We'll but I'm excited for it, man. I'm excited to like have it.
I'm gonna throw it right.
Do it.
I'm gonna throw it on top of his cake.
Toss her in the beach, bro.
Just toss her in the water. It's all freezing.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm kind of excited for it. Like, I think it's gonna be fun. Like, it's kind of like our first little trip together. Like, it's an experience that we haven't had yet, you know. And it's like you gotta kind of sit down and be like, hey, like, don't miss this, you know. Yeah. And dude, I think it's hard for both of us. You know, we're always so busy. We're always like thinking of shit. Like, you know, it's easy for me to just be on my phone all day or thinking about the next thing that I have to do. And sometimes I just gotta be like, I'm gonna sit down and fucking watch this cartoon or whatever it is, you know, because like I'm never gonna get this again, you know.
Yeah, I mean, every little moment. I mean, the kids seen us party and stuff like that. How do we interact with older individuals?
Yeah,
like
it's funny because it makes me think back to like my parents and like seeing them do stuff like that, or like going to like, you know, I remember my dad used to take us to like one of his friends' house. This is weird, bro. It's like a memory I don't remember I had, but like he would like take us to a friend's house, and I remember that guy had like this huge wall of like action figures and all this like
cool.
like Lego shit and stuff. And I remember just sitting on the couch and being like, this is kind of cool, you know, and like, or seeing my dad not be my dad, right, and be like
a friend
to this person, you know. And it's like, as a kid, you don't really get that, you know. They're always yelling at you, or some shit, you know, spanking you because you're an idiot, you know. But like it's interesting, you know.
So I want to talk about this. This is the last thing before we go on to Reddit finds, but our guides are going to come out. I think after this, it's going to be this Wednesday.
Okay.
This guide that's coming out is the guide that you want to read, because it's the cost of getting lean. A lot of people do not know that what it takes to lose body percent fat.
What it takes to have the six pack.
This breaks it down for you. From social to nutrition to working out, it's going to break it down for you.
Yeah. You'd be a good blogger, bro. I think you'd be awesome.
All right. Let's go to the Reddit finds. Dude, the very first one I want to talk about is it's been snowing. It's icy.
Yeah.
But I've never seen a robot shovel.
Crazy, right?
Dude, that thing was doing all the work for him. We're lazy as humans.
It was insane, dude. You know, it was this robot that he had outside, literally like shoveling perfectly, you know, the driveway out of the way to like move things away. And then I don't know if I just saw it. Maybe I sent it to you. I don't know if you picked it up, but there was like, or maybe you sent it to me. It was a video of like a bricklaying robot on a construction site. Yeah. And then I saw this other thing. I think I sent it to you too. I mean, I know these shows are like scripted and stuff, but it was one of those like Breaking Amish shows where like there are people who are like are usually in an Amish, like, you know, culture. You milk?
That one?
Maybe
the two girls.
Yeah.
The grocery store.
Yes. Yeah. And they were like, you know, the people here, like they buy cut vegetables and it's packaged and they were like, how does almond milk work? I was like, but like one of the things they said, they were just like,
everything has tits, so you milk it.
If you believe. Yeah. And it was like, they were just like, people are so lazy. Like, why don't you just buy the vegetable and come yourself, you know, and all this stuff. And I was kind of like, damn, like, is it lazy? Is it taking care, or is it taking advantage of technology now? Like, you know, I think it's the way you look at it. It's all perspective or whatever. But I think there is a little bit of like, you know, you don't need a robot to shovel this stuff. You know, you don't need to buy cut vegetables and stuff like that. Like, there's.
So I'm gonna argue against you.
Huh?
I'm gonna argue against you.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Yeah. So like the whole like you don't need a robot to shovel with you. Mm-hmm. What if this guy's an exec CEO?
Yeah.
It depends on job placement, right?
That's what I thought.
But
too.
Sometimes, you know, like I have my kids. Mm-hmm. Why not get my kids out there to do some manual labor, appreciate what they have, and I noticed that I'm teaching my oldest daughter, and I shouldn't say me and Amanda, I'm teaching her to cook a little bit. And she cooked her eggs first time ever. She was like nervous and stuff like that. You could see she cooked it the second time. She's more confident. The third time, she's like, oh, I got this. And I don't think we do this enough as parents, is make our kids do some hard shit. Yeah. And get through it.
I really try and do that now, man. Because, you know, I fucking love Camille, man. I love her a lot because, like, she will, like...
Whoa.
Yeah.
Are we professing something?
Yeah, this is the first time I've ever said it.
That's the first time I said that word. Wow. You heard it here first, Camille.
She has no problem calling me out on shit. Yeah. You know, and like,
oh, I could tell you, she has no problem calling anybody out.
And it's a little hard, you know, like that's sometimes, it's a little hard sometimes because I'm a little bit soft. I'm a little sensitive, you know? So like sometimes she'll say shit and I'm just like, hey man, like, fucking chill.
I'm just trying to eat an apple here.
Or I might get
eating the apple wrong.
Or I might get defensive or something like that. But again, going back to what we talked about earlier, it has nothing to do with what she's saying. It has everything to do with me, right? It has how I perceived it, how I took it, how I feel about myself, you know. But a lot of times she has no problem being like, hey, like let Chris do some stuff, you know, like let her like try and do it. Like, you know, because I'm so ready to like help and things like that. And so now I try a lot to be like, oh, nope. Like, hey, dude, I folded all your clothes. You fucking put them away. You know what I mean? Like, hey, like the other day, you know, she doesn't know this, but I went to go get a haircut from our friend, you know, and I totally fucking forgot about it. I totally forgot. Yeah. And so we had just gone grocery shopping, and I was like, I'm gonna run to the restroom really quick, and I pulled out my phone and I looked at it, and it was like haircut in like 20 minutes, and I was like, oh fuck. Yeah. And we had just gone grocery shopping. All the groceries just in the fucking kitchen. And I was like, kid, I totally forgot I have a haircut. I was like, I need you to put the groceries away. I was like, put them away. I'll be back, whatever. And so I just left, and I was like, if you need help thinking about where to put them, ask, your grandma, whatever. And so I left, came back, and of course they're all gone. She put them away. Some of the stuff I was like, this is supposed to go in the freezer, but I'm gonna let it go. But it's like, you gotta let them do shit sometimes, you gotta let them grow.
Let them fail, man.
Gotta let them fail, right? Like there's a lot of times where like, she'll be like, I can't open this bottle, and I'm like, you tried fucking once, dude. Yeah. Like, like, figure it out.
It's scary, like letting your kids touch knives and stuff like that.
Oh, I know, yeah. Like I let her cut an orange the other day, and I was like, please don't fucking cut your finger off. please. Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna be in so much trouble.
All right, so this next one is a young man marries a 76-year-old woman.
Oh yeah,
billionaire.
Well,
so a lot of people in the comments,
I think that's true love, bro.
A lot of people in the comments were saying, oh, he doesn't love her, he's just in it for the money. I think it's funny that we judge these people so quickly. Maybe it really is in love. We don't know what's going on in people's minds, and we're so quick to say, especially like, oh, this 35-year-old never should be seeing a 23-year-old because they have nothing in common, but maybe they do really love each other or whatever. Why are we as humans so judgy when that's part of like every religion, not to judge?
Or also, maybe they don't have anything in common. Maybe this dude, maybe the 33-year-old guy and the 25-year-old girl have just crazy sexual attraction. And maybe they're okay with that.
Yes.
Right? Like maybe they get fulfilled in connection and stuff from friendships or family or whatever. Right? Like I think that we should just stop like, I understand that some people are like, it's kind of weird. Like, if it's
you're thinking from your perspective. You're thinking from your perspective,
right? Yeah. I understand if it's like really big, like,
or if it's like a teenage person.
Yeah. Like, I understand how it's kind of like, what are we doing here?
That's a little too far.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, what's the problem there? But it's like, if it's, two fucking adults, and they just really like having sex or something like that. Like, okay, maybe you need connection from your partner. Maybe you need something else from your partner.
Or maybe she does. Maybe she wants a relationship where she's the servant and he makes more money,
right?
Or vice versa. Like there's guys who are, I consider beta, not alpha, right? And they do better in that role of being supportive versus leading.
And
there's women who are better at leading.
Yeah, and it's just like, not every. You gotta look at stuff from other perspectives. You just have to.
All right, last Reddit here: AI robot in comedy.
Oh yeah,
dude, that's crazy.
Wasn't that weird? Yeah,
AI's taking over everything.
It was two comedians.
I'm actually a robot.
Yeah, this is our confession. I'm an AI. I'm an android.
We're fake.
Yeah, it was two comedians on a podcast, and they were like they were listening to a routine done by like AI version of another comedian. I can't remember who it was. They're like since deceased. And they were like, it was doing this whole routine, like a whole entire comedy thing. And it was, you could tell that it was a little like robotic and, but they still laughed at some of the stuff that it said. Funny enough, dude, I was doing some captions for things the other day. And on one of them, I was like, can you make this more like humorous and funny, And so like popped out some stuff. I was reading it and I was like, man, you could totally tell this is written by a robot. And I was like, it's like it was so weird reading it. I was like, it's like just a little bit. It's like the idea of being funny, but it's not actually funny. Like you read it and you're like, I should laugh, but for some reason it's not funny, and it's like, so I think, but it was still pretty good, like I was like, it still did what I asked. But I think that as like time continues, it's like things are going to get more blurred, know, and what is real and what isn't.
I agree, dude. All right. So we got two studies. The first study is about it unlocks the secrets of how high blood pressure, hypertension fuels the progression of artery disease, right? And in this study, they pretty much showed how these plaques, these buildups form. And it doesn't really have anything like, oh, we're going to do this for health or that for health. But it's great to see that we're finding out how are these things happening. Because a lot of times we just skip that step. And so now they know how the plaque is building and what high blood pressure does for you.
Did they
stuff
say?
like that? And they said this could help fund future studies to understand before the buildup happens, what do I need to do? So they're like in the middle of the process.
Interesting, man.
So sometimes studies are good to be like that, right?
That's huge, man. That's huge.
All right. So this next study is low carbohydrate diets emphasizing healthy plant-based sources associated with slower long-term weight gain. So they had an animal base, they had a omnivore, they had all those low carb, high carb. The only thing I will say is when I read the study is like calories were not really accounted for very well.
Yeah.
So if you're a low carb and you're plant-based,
you're going to be having so little calories.
Really low calories.
Yeah.
So I think people don't understand, like, this is the first law right here, the law of thermodynamics and health. And you just losing weight is going to change blood markers, weight gain, and a lot of things.
Yeah.
Now, the next level, which we talk about, is like strength training, getting your protein mark, is more of a longevity tool, because now it's not just blood markers. It's how do I move? How do I function? As we know, if an older person breaks a hip, they could get pneumonia and die of other things real quickly. And so I think studies like this kind of manipulate things.
Yeah, it's definitely like, I wonder who funded that study, you know?
I forgot who it was, but
yeah,
it was like
but
a plant-based kind of.
And that's the thing, you know what I mean? I was telling my brother the other day about the Game Changers movie that I saw. And I was like, bro, you got to go watch this thing. And he was like, is that the one that you talked about on the podcast? And I was like, yeah. He was
it's
like,
amazing.
Yeah. He was like, is it crazy because it's like unbelievable information, or is it crazy because it's like stupid stuff that they're saying? And I was like, it's a little of both. Like, and I was like, but there were some parts of it where I was just like, this has to be a fucking lie. Like this, there's no, or you're seriously twisting a study. You know what I mean? And something like this, right? Because Game Changers could take this study and fucking roll with it, right? And be like, well, you know, if you're plant-based and you're going to lose weight, and, you know, they compared it to people who ate animals and they gained weight, you know, and they got worse, you know, and it's like, look at how good plants are. But it's like, dude, I could lose weight on an animal protein based only. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. It's
People
all
lose weight on carnivore.
Fucking.
It's calories in, calories out.
Calories in, calories out.
And, dude, it makes me think of what we talked about earlier. It's very individualized. There's a lot of things that people don't understand. It's very individualized. As much as we like to group and be part of a group, you got to learn how to work with yourself, your own mind, your own metabolism. I remember thinking, well, me and my brothers are the same, but yet they digest food differently. They look differently.
Yep.
I have one who's naturally an ectomorph, another one who's a mesomorph who can gain and lose weight fast. And like, you know, I just have to deal with my genetics, and I have to deal with my individual like gut issues. Like I can't have corn. I can't be like, no, nobody can have corn because corn is so bad. It could be a function that's good for somebody else. I don't know, right?
I love corn.
All right, guys, if you're liking what we're doing, please check out Apple and Spotify, rate and review us. Also, you can subscribe on there as well. We have YouTube. You can leave comments down below, subscribe, let us know how we're doing. Then if you're looking for a website, it's ssempowered.com. We have blogs, free guides coming out each month. Then we have programs for sale as well. If you want to email us future fitness questions, it's strengthsolutionsempowered@gmail.com. Then we have social media, Facebook Strength Solutions, TikTok strength.solutions.pod, and Instagram Strength Solutions Empowered. I'm Strength Solutions Edwin.
I'm Strength Solutions Nathaniel.
All right, let's get ready for this first question. The first question is, how do I complete a deload week? I heard it's important for muscle gain in the gym.
Man, we just talked about this too, right? You don't get big in the gym, man. You get big when you recover.
Now, this is what I'm going to say is most people I know and train do not need a deload week.
Sure.
Because they don't do enough that warrants it.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm dealing with a bodybuilder, an athlete, and stuff like that, how do we do our deload week? This isn't me saying it. I forgot his name. Brian Schofield. He's like a muscle, like he literally studies this stuff all the time.
Okay.
He argued that before he would put a deload week in his program.
Like in the middle of the program?
Like at the end, right?
Oh, okay.
Right. But now let's just say it's like a 12-month mesocycle, right? It's 12 months. It's a cycle. And at the end of the 12 months or 12 weeks, sorry, he puts in a deload.
Okay.
Now he would argue, let your body tell you when you need a deload. And he said that's the hardest part, because then you could push your body to a certain limit and then deload.
Yeah. I think that's important. Like we were just talking about earlier, like recovery is a huge thing. I was reading about it, the Texas method. And when I was setting it up, I was like, how many weeks am I supposed to do this? Like at no point did any program or any article or video say how many weeks. And so I looked it up really quick and I was like, how many weeks are you supposed to do the Texas method? And one of the things was like, you can run it for like 5 to 8 weeks, but essentially you're supposed to run it until you stop making gains. That's it.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. Like that. I was like, I'll set it for like 6 weeks, see how I feel. If I feel like I can keep doing it, then I'll just keep doing it. If I feel like I need a deload a week, then I'll take a deload a week, right? And then do it again or whatever it is. And I think that's important though, but I think it's also like something that's hard to do, right? Because a lot of people are going to continue pushing, or they don't know, right? They don't know how to deload, or they don't know how to listen to their body, right?
Yeah.
How many people will fucking push themselves to the end?
Especially athletes.
Especially athletes, right? Especially like for whatever reason, like people middle-aged,
Type A personality.
Yeah, love doing that. Yeah, like they will like push themselves
mode, baby.
until they're fucking, strained, juiced, gone. And, my brother, he's gotten a long way, because the other day he was like, I was feeling like really bad. So I just decided that I was going to take a deload week and, and then I'll go in to do something else. And I was like, fuck yeah, man. Like, that's exactly what you should do. You know what I mean? But the deload week is active rest, right? It's going to be active rest.
Still
week.
working out.
You're still working out. You're still doing some stuff. But really, I like to say that you're just in the gym moving weights around. Like, you're just kind of doing sort of whatever, whatever feels good. Maybe, focusing on things that you don't really get to do. Like, like I think you are very good at making like fun deload weeks. Like, I'm going to do windmills today. I'm going to do barbell suitcase carries. I'm going to do whatever, and you're just kind of like having fun in the gym for a week. You know, I think it's exciting when I get to do a deload week, because I'm like, fuck yeah, I don't have to do all this fucking heavy ass shit. I can just go mess around with some bands, do some mobility, just feel good.
My rest periods are longer.
Yeah. Like you're just hanging out. You know?
Or if you want to like really get your squat up, right? Instead of doing 300 pounds, now you're doing 150 with a pause and just enjoying the movement and feeling the movement.
Yep.
That's something, you don't have to make it complex. It could literally be the same exact workout, but you're doing 50% of the load.
Sure. Yep. It's totally good.
Like easy. All right. Second question. I only have 30 minutes a day. Is that enough time to reach my fitness goals?
I think it depends on what the goal is, but I would most likely say yes.
Yeah. I mean, I think people don't know how to be efficient with their time when it comes to like working out. I think too many times we focus on like these small movements if we don't have much time. And if we don't have a lot of time, we need to focus on the big movements and things like that.
Yeah.
Now, there's a caveat to it. Do you have a back injury? Do you have a knee injury? Do you have a shoulder injury? Then we would have to figure out how to manipulate variables individually.
Yeah.
But focus on your big movements. I've had people with 30-minute sessions get results.
Sure. Yeah, because imagine just in terms of time. Let's say I work out for 1 hour 3 times a week. That's 3 hours, right? Now let's say I work out for 30 minutes 5 times a week, right? That's 2.5 hours, right? This is not that much different, right? Like
that's just 30 minutes of volume less.
And dude, you know what? You might even be more focused because you're like, I only have 30 minutes. I gotta get this shit like efficient, and I gotta like work. You know what I mean? So
you might get better results.
You might get better results. Who knows, right? I think it just depends on what it is. Right now, I'm doing 30-minute sessions with one of my clients. He's athlete, he boxes. He's very focused on conditioning. He doesn't really need to be super strong, right? Because like fight sports and things like that combat sports are more like technique and skill, right? I could be the biggest guy and throw a weaker punch than one dude that's 135. You know what I mean? So like we just focus on conditioning during our sessions. Like, let's get a really good workout in. Focus on conditioning. Maybe we do a little bit of strength training into it. But yeah, man, I think that if you're programmed right, then yeah, you can definitely get something out of 30 minutes.
Cool. All right. So question number 3: what can I do if I have knee pain? Honestly, a lot of knee pain is not the knee itself, right? So unless there's a structural issue, typically it is either the foot, ankle, or it's the hip. So if it's like the foot, ankle, Maybe the foot doesn't pronate. Maybe your toes are not spaced out wide enough. Maybe you don't have the capability to dorsiflex. That's all like just from the ankle itself, right? Because the foot goes side to side. It goes over and back, pronate, supinate. It literally turns a certain degree, right?
There's a lot of functions.
Has a lot of functions. And the hip, it's a ball and socket joint.
Moves.
Moves a bunch of different directions.
Yeah. I think it depends, like you said, on where the knee pain is coming from. You know, if you tore your MCL or something like that, okay, well, you know, it might be from that.
It's a structural issue, right?
Yeah. If you have trouble going upstairs, right? Okay, well, let's take a look at that, right? Like, how are you stepping? Where are you putting pressure through? Is your hip stable, right? Are you moving properly? Like, what is the issue there? For why it is, you know, maybe it's just developing strength through a certain range of motion, you know, like maybe you feel good at the top of a squat, but getting a little bit deeper hurts, right? Okay, well then let's practice building strength to the top of the squat, right? Like maybe hold a static hold, maybe right before that point of tension where you start to feel it, and then come back up, right? You're going to build strength, you're going to build stability about, I think what do they say, like 5-10 degrees. Yeah. And then maybe, you know, after 2 weeks, we can go a little bit deeper, and a little bit deeper, right? And so you just got to work to it. I think the main thing is pinpointing what's causing the pain.
Yeah. Like your anterior tibialis could just not be strong enough.
Mm-hmm. Maybe can't support.
Yeah. It's simple as that. All right. Last one. What are some things I can do to raise my testosterone? Keep improving my gains in the weight room.
So shoot up, bro.
Just shoot up. Yeah, you're good. No, I think the number one thing people can do for testosterone has nothing to do with like weights, nutrition, even though they do affect it, but is learning how to get your sleep down.
Sleep.
I just think that enough people just abandon sleep and don't see sleep as a function of health.
Yeah, I say sleep, definitely. Stress, right, is another one that can tank it. Yep. I was talking to someone the other day. I'll try and keep it as like anonymous as possible. But we were talking about their relationship and partner and stuff like that, and they'd been going through a hard time, and their partner was kind of like, man, I just don't feel like anything. Like, I don't feel motivated to do anything. I don't feel whatever. And they're like, I think I'm gonna go get my T checked, you know, and they were like, yeah, go get it checked. And I was like, yeah, go. But I was also, you know, I'm like, you also just went through like a really, really hard time. Your testosterone is gonna drop. You know what I mean? Like, the best thing you could do is take care of yourself, right? Like, make sure you're sleeping, try and manage the situation you're going through the best way possible, you know, stuff like that. I think other things that maybe we don't talk about enough is like, what you're viewing in media, you know, like if you watch a lot of porn or things like that, or if you are, or if you're, you know, like it's all the stuff that you intake is going to affect your body, right? Yeah. I don't think that we realize how all of the stuff that we do, everything has a consequence, you know, whether it's good or bad.
Yeah. I really want to point out like a study that I love. And in this study, they had CEOs, high stress job, lack of sleep. First thing they did was get them to relax, get a normal night of sleep. Within a day, their testosterone almost went right back to normal.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's crazy, those two things.
I think it's a good marker of what your current environment is.
Correct.
Right. If your testosterone is high, male or female, right? If your testosterone is high, then you're probably doing something right.
You got energy.
You got energy. You're probably working out a lot. You're probably sleeping well. Your stress is probably really good, you know, et cetera, stuff like that. You know, if it's really low, you might be depressed. You might be going through a really hard time. You might not be sleeping well. You might be eating garbage. You know, like it's a super good marker of your current like health status. Yeah.
And now I want to go over the nutrition and the physical fitness aspect of it. So nutrition wise, it's all going to be based off your body percent fat. The higher your body percent fat, your testosterone tends to dip.
Yes.
And if you're not eating foods that are going to heal your body and make you feel better, it's just that simple for nutrition, right? So making sure you're just taking care of your body in that sense.
Yeah.
And then on the weight room side is doing too much. This is where I talk about the right volume versus high volume.
Yeah.
Those are two different concepts. And if you do the right volume, you're going to feel great. I think it was around Christmas time, and I think I told you, I'm just not feeling good.
Yeah.
I was like feeling tired and stuff like that. Went back to like lower my volume.
Oh, yeah.
And increase I increased like weight, everything like that, like within a week, and I felt much better. And it's just, I was doing too much. You know, I had events that happened, and it was just a stressful time. Because of the time it was, I had to like drop my volume, and dropping my volume at that point was the right decision. And I felt way better. And I think it leads right back to what we started with: high volume versus right volume, and doing things based off of individual overvalue versus undervalue. All right, guys, if you like what we're doing, please share, like, subscribe. We're on Apple and Spotify. Rate and review us. We also have YouTube. If you're looking for our YouTube channel, it's Strength Solutions, right? Podcast. Leave a comment below. We have a website, ssempowered.com. We have free blogs, free guides. We also have programs for purchase. Then, if you're looking for an email, it's strengthsolutionsempowered@gmail.com. You can email us fitness questions, or if you want to meet and greet or have us help your fitness facility, we can do that as well. Then we have our social media: Facebook, Strength Solutions; TikTok, strength.solutions.pod; and on Instagram is Strength Solutions Empowered. I'm Strength Solutions Edwin.
I'm Strength Solutions Nathaniel.
Until next time, guys, what?